Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy and the great work that they're doing to create a city of justice. There's no issue more important to our future than creating a fair economy. In the months and years ahead, the leadership of organizations like LAANE will be essential as we strive to reclaim the promise of this country. Now, Cleve Jones has been working tirelessly on everything as long as I've been aware of him. But for the last 16 years, among other things, he's been the driving force putting together the film Milk, of which I was a part. But for Cleve, the success of Milk adds an extraordinary legacy of activism. In 1983, he co-founded the San Francisco AIDS Foundation at a time when the disease was poorly understood. 2 years later, he conceived the idea of the AIDS Memorial Quilt to commemorate the lives of those who died. The quilt has grown to become the world's largest community arts project, memorializing the lives of over 85,000 Americans killed by AIDS, and the Names Project now has independent affiliates in more than 50 countries worldwide. Cleve's dedication to equality and justice extends beyond the gay community. For decades, he's championed the rights of hotel workers, leading an effort to build support among gays and lesbians for better conditions in the hospitality industry. His Sleep with the Right People campaign is typically provocative and savvy, challenging the gay community to only patronize hotels that treat their workers with respect. By joining forces with Unite Here, the Hotel Workers Union, Cleve has demonstrated once again the power of coalition building and his belief in the principle that a threat to the rights of anyone poses a threat to the rights of everyone. It's been my privilege to call Cleve Jones my friend since we first met just a year ago. But in that short time, we've drank together, made a movie together. We've traveled with 150 young volunteers to New Orleans, pitching our tents and sleeping on church floors along the way. I've seen him in action. He's a man of honor, of passion, and of heart. I'm very proud to be here to give him this award and to call Cleve Jones my friend.
Thank you very much. You know, the first night I met Sean, I was so nervous because Harvey Milk was probably, the most important thing that ever happened to me. I've been through a lot, I've survived a lot, and when I look back at my life, really everything goes back to meeting Harvey Milk on the corner of Castro and 18th Street. He was like a dad to me, and I wanted more than anything to like Sean Penn as a person. I knew he was a great actor. I knew his politics were my own, but I just love Sean Penn, and I'm so proud of what he's done for this film, and so grateful to be able to say that he's my pal. It's not. I'm a simple Quaker boy from Phoenix, and I joined the movement when I was 13. And my mom and dad were involved with the anti-war effort, and we had this little Quaker group. The meeting house in Phoenix was so small that our youth group only had, I think, 4 people, so we joined forces with the enormous Unitarian population of Phoenix, Arizona. And, we shut down our high schools during Vietnam Moratorium Day, and when Cesar Chavez came to the great fields of Arizona, we marched with him. And for me, it was always about the movement. It wasn't just the peace movement. It wasn't just the farm workers movement. It was the larger movement made up of ordinary men and women all across the planet who stand together for peace, for social justice, and for equality. A few years later, when I realized that the bullies that were calling me a faggot all the time were really quite right, I had the good fortune to read in a copy of Life magazine. I think it was 1971. It had the year in pictures. And there was a section about gay people in San Francisco, and they were starting a revolution, and there were these photographs of these hot boys with long hair, you know, with their fists in the air, and I thought, oh, this is okay, I'm ready. And so I hitchhiked up to San Francisco, and I met Harvey Milk. And you know, Harvey was one of the people that reached out to the Teamsters. There was also a man named Howard Wallace up in San Francisco, and here in LA, a man named Morris Kite, great visionaries of the gay community who sought to do everything possible to build an alliance with labor. And I remember going to the Teamsters Hall with Harvey, you know, 33, 34 years ago, and I figured we're either going to make history or we're going to get the crap beat out of us. And, so now, you know, it's been a long and interesting time, and today I work for the men and women who have served you your dinner. I work for Unite Here. I am so proud of this union. I'm so honored to be a part of this struggle. The Hotel Workers Rising campaign was first explained to me by my friend Jack Gribben and a man named David Glazer, who I think some of you know. And I was up in San Francisco. It was during the lockout of the hotels there. Many of my friends were locked out of their jobs. And I was pissed off about it. And I went down to Local 2. You know, I've known Local 2 since I was a kid on the street in San Francisco. And I said, what can I do to help? They had me stuffing envelopes for like a week. And then they started explaining Hotel Workers Rising. And I saw so clearly that this campaign, Hotel Workers Rising, exists where some of the most charged and complex and important issues of our time collide. I'm talking about immigration, I'm talking about globalization, and I'm talking about access to health care. And it has been such an inspiration to me in all of the cities that I've worked in across the United States and Canada, from Honolulu to Toronto, from Vancouver to Philadelphia, to see these men and women, mostly immigrants, mostly people who left good jobs and hope for themselves in their home countries to come to our country and to Canada for their children's futures. And I urge all of you, you know, every time you get in a taxi, you talk to that cab driver. Find out where he came from. When you're staying in hotels, talk to those housekeepers. Find out where they came from, and I guarantee you will be as inspired as I have been by the work that they do and the ideals that they hold true. I have many friends here tonight, and it's very wonderful to see my new film world meet my lefty world, and it's really it's been a wonderful year. And often I meet young gay people who are so afraid of getting old, and they can't imagine what it would be like to be old. And I tell them, you know, well, you won't be as cute as I was in the 70s. You know, Emile Hirsch, I was that cute for like 6 weeks in the mid-1970s. You know, I thought my legacy would be the quilt, but now I know that I will be remembered for generations to come as the guy with really bad hair and really silly glasses in the 1970s. And one last word about Prop 8. I was bitterly disappointed. I was appalled that we lost LA County. We have a long struggle to go. I hope you'll see the movie we made. I hope you'll be inspired by what we did in San Francisco in 1978. But for strategy, look back to 1964, when it became clear that the southern states and many others would never willingly grant equal protection under the law to African American citizens. It was then that President Johnson and the Congress of the United States passed the Civil Rights Act. That is what we need today. Enough of this failed strategy of fighting state by state, city by city, county by county for crumbs, for fractions of equality. The time is now. We call upon Barack Obama. We call upon Nancy Pelosi. We call upon Harry Reid to act decisively, immediately, and unequivocally to grant full civil rights to all Americans. Thank you, LAANE, for the great work you do. Thank you all very much. Si se puede. ¡Sí se puede!